why do you think the 20s and 30s for most guys are the period where loneliness starts to really hit?
Potentially men aren't actually lonely. They're just independent. It's the first time where you have to build something on your own.
Have you called Alex recently?
No. We drifted apart after I found out
After you learned English?
After I found out he had a peanut allergy and I was bringing peanut butter sandwiches to school every day.
The crowning jewel of this is like, don't compare your community to other guys' community. All right, boys. So here we are. We are solving the loneliness crisis. We're going to hit these 5 ways, but I want to kind of hit a little T-ball question for you. What are some times in your life where you've had a moment where you're like, I shouldn't feel alone, but at the end of the night, I still do? What are some of those times?
Like you're surrounded by friends, but even then you still feel. I mean, I'll say it right now. Being surrounded by you guys, I feel. No, the first thing that comes to mind, which I think is connected, but I'd love to hear from y'all if you have different examples. Right now, as y'all know, I'm looking to switch jobs. And I feel like as I built up my network in my time with Focus and doing other things, everyone's always like, hey, let me know how we can help. Let me know how we can help. And we felt this a little bit when we had our first child, but we're feeling it again right now, where it's like, okay, now I need help. And I'm asking people like, hey, can you help me? And they're like, sorry, I can't. And it's like all these people that were offering to help now, they're like, I can't, there's nothing really I can do to help, help you find a new career or whatever, explore different options. And it feels very isolating, right? When you're just there by yourself, you're like, well, what happened to all these friends that told me that they're going to, now I know that's a lie, right? That I'm telling myself, but that's that initial feeling of like, man, I just feel very alone in this new stage of life where all these people told me that they would be so happy to help.
Yeah.
What about you, Clayton?
I don't know. My first thought was like being at a big conference or something like that, where you're surrounded by a lot of people. There's a lot of energy, excitement in the air. I mean, obviously, the organization we work for, Focus, puts on the annual SEEK conference every year, which brings, 20, 30,000 people that come to it. And a lot of times you go with a group of friends. Even if you do go with a group of friends or you go with someone, there's like times throughout a conference like that where you're just kind of by yourself, or, you end up eating alone, because you didn't have cell phone service and you couldn't text your friend. So you don't know where they were, and then you eat alone, and you kind of see everybody else, and you kind of think to yourself like, man, everybody else has someone that they're with, besides.
Also too, because you're looking around at a conference like Seek, at least it's like, yeah, I have so much in common with a lot of people, with most of the people here, but I'm surrounded, but I'm so alone.
It's cool because I think, going back to your point, I think the times of transition are times where you're feeling lonely. Transitioning to a new career, transitioning to a new state of life. All 3 of us are transitioning in different points of our careers. New jobs, new leadership, new positions. And I feel like for me, as I'm transitioning to a new role, I have a bunch of coworkers who I know, but I've never worked with them. I know them as friends, but I've never worked with them. So there's a feeling of loneliness in, we know each other, we've hung out, but we've never worked in this environment together. And so we may know about each other, but we don't know how you operate in the work setting. Or transitioning to a new job or a new company where you've met people, but you're not far enough in to actually have relationships with them.
Let me ask this question. This would probably be a question you might get in like a counseling session or something. But like, can you remember the first time in your life where you felt lonely?
Dr. Caldwell.
I'm just curious. Memory from when you were really young, where you felt alone or like unchosen or you didn't fit in or something like that.
You have one?
The one that comes top of mind is not like the first time, but it's the loudest time. And that was our freshman year at Texas A&M. I went all in on trying to become the most popular person on campus. And so I got involved in all these different circles. Like I was running campaigns and I met all these super popular people, and I had like hundreds of friends. Like hundreds of people knew my name, knew about me. I just started dating my now wife, and I was feeling amazing. But as I would walk back to my dorm late at night, I would just feel that like weight of loneliness of like, I know all of these people and they know me, and I should feel the happiest I've ever felt in my life. But instead, I've never felt more alone because I feel like they know me, but they don't know me. They don't know John Michael. They don't know what gets him going. They don't know what makes him that he's passionate about. So it's not the first, but it's like the most profound experience of loneliness.
They know the brand, but not the person behind the brand. I mean, for me, a louder one is when my family moved to the States, which is, it's kind of the easy answer, but it is true. I mean, we moved to a different country where we had no family, didn't know anyone, barely spoke the language. And at this point, my brother was going into middle school. I was still in elementary school. And so it was like I had no one. I just got dropped off into a classroom. And my parents didn't know what ESL classes were, so I didn't get signed up for those.
It's a crazy experience.
And it was just like,
imagine.
I got to figure it out.
Is there AP ESL?
Not fourth grade. Well, this is a funny story related to that. About a couple months in, when you're that young, you pick up the language relatively quickly. And we had taken some English classes in Mexico.
You were what, 10?
9.
9?
Or 9 going on 10.
Yeah.
And
9 going on 30.
Well, there's just the funniest side is one point, the guy that sat next to me in class, Alex, he was in GT, gifted and talented, in Texas public school system. And he would get, I was always so curious because once a week, someone would come knock on the door and Alex would stand up and leave the classroom for like 2 hours and then come back with puzzles. I don't know what they did. And I was always so jealous. But I was really good at puzzles and I started doing his puzzles for him. And so one day my teacher pulled me aside and said, hey, I need you to go home with this and have your parents sign it. And it was this form that said, like, hey, do you want to sign up your child for...
The government has noticed your child. We want to bring him into a secret government program.
Yeah, it's just like that your son is special and, like, gifted and talented. And my parents thought it was for special ed and not for, like, gifted and talented classes. And so they were like, absolutely not. And so I also didn't get to sign up for that either.
So you're not in ESL and you're not in GT.
Just...
Where do you think you'd be?
Just a regular kid.
If you had been GT in
you probably wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know you.
No.
You hire
at a safe house. But yeah, I mean, it was just an incredibly lonely time. Now, again, as a fourth grader, how much are you really noticing these things?
Yeah.
But I do remember that I just got really attached to the class pet. We had bunnies. And it was like, well, I don't know anyone. These people have known each other for elementary school.
Well, no wonder your parents thought they were sending you to that program.
And I was like, yeah, I guess I'll just go play with the bunnies during recess.
Is that what you did?
Okay, I do have this very clear memory. Now, Alex and I kind of developed a friendship because of the puzzles. But I do remember one time at recess, I would just watch them play. Because I didn't know what to do. And I remember vividly, this was like maybe around Halloween. So it had been a couple months. And Alex and 2 of his friends came up to me and said, hey, we see that you're watching. Do you just want to play with us? Which is so funny. But I mean, they became my best friends in elementary school.
Wow.
Because I was like, yeah. And then
that's how it happens.
I just follow them around the monkey bars.
Everyone's got a memory like, hey, you want to play?
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't speak the language. Sorry.
Sorry, I don't know.
So as we are, 20, 29 going on 40 now, we know a lot of guys in this stage of life, 20s, 30s. And I've noticed that it may be one of the loneliest times of someone's life because, as we mentioned before, it's a time of transitions. What do you feel like? Why do you think the 20s and 30s for most guys are the period where loneliness starts to really hit?
Very simple answer, in my opinion. You've been in school your entire life where, your friends have been made for you. You know, someone asked you if you wanted to play when you were 9 years old on the playground, and then they were friends.
No one's
You took
asked you
your
that.
graduation, you took your graduation photos together. You were roommates in college.
Yeah.
That's just like that's how it goes for a lot of people. And, you know, you graduate, and you know, the university system. It's a giant playground, is what it is. You know, everyone lives there, eats there, you know, sleeps there, goes to school there, works there. And then you graduate, and you no longer have any of those support structures. And then, you know, I mean, we could go on and on about, you know, societal support structures that have collapsed, or, you know, that have hindered social relationships. But it's the first time where you have to build something on your own. It's not, at least the, you know, the framing isn't there for you to be able to build on top of.
I have two other things to add to that. One of them is maybe a little more personal, but one I think that is for everyone. This is also when people start entering different stages of life at different times. And this is something that I've experienced too. You know, like you guys had kids way before me, but also just in general, it's like even those existing friends you do have, some of them might be getting married. Some of them could be on their second kid, their fourth kid. They're, you know, you could be single. And it's like worlds start to kind of separate, not because the friendship is lost, but just completely different stages of life. And it's in that in-between space where, you know, a lot of times once you have an established family, you start becoming friends with your kids' friends' parents, right? Or with people at your parish, but you're in this weird in-between where everyone is at different starting points for this race. And you can kind of get lost in the shuffle. And the other thing, which affects some people, not everyone, is working remotely. I work remotely. And it's really tough to just get plugged in person with people when you're just in your house all day. You know, I think those are two things, but mainly what you're saying, and then with everyone starting at different times, different stages of life.
And I'm wondering too if maybe some guys are misidentifying loneliness as their first time of like true independence. So they're independent, and they're just, because they're independent, they're like, oh, I've never experienced this before, I must be lonely. When in reality, maybe it's just that you're driving decisions by yourself for the first time, or you're making decisions on the future of your life without basing them on, oh, what are my friends doing? What fraternity is everybody joining? I'm going to go do that. What major is everybody doing? I'm going to go do that. What city is everyone moving to? I'm going to go move there. And I wonder if maybe some of that tension is like, guys are misidentifying this as loneliness when it's just self-independence and self-identification for the very first time.
Yeah. And to add that too, I remember, and you guys probably relate to this, my first year out of college, someone asked me like, hey, what do you like to do? What are your hobbies? I was like, God, hanging out with my friends.
Miller,
like going to
Coors,
bars. Yeah.
and Bud.
It's like, that's not a hobby. You know, and I was also just kind of the self-identifying process of like, well, what do I like to do? If I'm not going out with my friends to the bars or just in general in college, does that mean that I'm lonely? You know, those are questions I think all of us ask ourselves.
I don't know if I fully agree with your independence thought there.
Tell me more.
So if I understood you correctly, what you're saying is that potentially men aren't actually lonely. They're just independent.
Yes.
For the first time. What do you mean by independent? Like they
I think it's when you're 0 to 18, you really don't make any major decisions for yourself. Your parents, for the vast majority of your substantial decisions, are making them for you. Even up to going to college, like you could be choosing what school you're going to, but it's also tied into how close do my parents want me, and can they pay for my education? If they are paying for it, it needs to be, you know, this amount of money, and my dad studied this, so I should probably study that, you know, and so when you graduate, you have not, in the way the world works right now, when you're 22, you don't have a ton of experience making your own decisions.
So you're saying then maybe it's anxiety or into, you know.
Yeah, I think that could be a better definition of maybe what guys are experiencing, is not like anxiety in the clinical sense, but just the anxiousness of like, oh, I have to choose things for myself.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of weight there's a lot of weight when that happens.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's kind of tied together. I can see if what you mean, by independence is, I think, I don't know. I would say maybe isolate. I don't know if I agree that independence is really what guys are. It's good to be independent, but I think what you're saying is underneath that newfound independence, there's like a low grade, I don't know, anxiousness, anxiety about life. And then that probably also feeds into the loneliness as well, where it's like they don't know where to go with that.
Who do I talk to?
There's kind of a pressure, about their lives in the world, and they're not used to that kind of vulnerability with other people, and then you just go about your life kind of with this shell, this wall about you, so you can be surrounded by people, but anyways, I don't know if I don't fully know where I'm going with that, but
I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
Because I think that independence might not be the direct cause of loneliness, but indirectly I think it does, because the other thing that we all hear is like, you just got to put your head down and go to work. Put your head down, go to the post and just grind and get some points. And it's like, I'm like, you got to lock in. We hear locking in all the time. And so it's like, I have all these big decisions to make. I just got to lock in. I just got to put my head down, go to work. And you no longer have these relationships that are in your face because you're in college, you're surrounded by people. And so you kind of start to self-isolate a little bit. And then that's what I think what you were saying comes in. Where you're like, well, I don't really know what this is or what to do with it, or who do I go to about this?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if this is a walk into the idea that if all guys, maybe not all, but if a large majority is saying that they feel this way, you would think that would then help solve the problem. It's like, hey, if we're all lonely, then let's all get together and not be lonely anymore. But that's not happening. So I'm wondering why, if everyone's experiencing this, then why isn't that shared experience enough to bring them together?
I don't think I have a fully formed thought. Part of me thinks though, that a lot of guys don't know how to articulate, exactly what it is that they're experiencing, or they're not even fully aware that they are experiencing it. This is just kind of how life is in general. But I don't know. I mean, thinking of examples from my own life, like there's been times that I've been lonely in like the last 24 hours, or you can say in like the last year, where I have close friends that I can confide in, and I've been taught how to be vulnerable and how to explore those emotions, be able to share them prudently and well with people that I'm close to. But also at the same time, there's plenty of moments where it's like, I'm feeling this, and I just kind of feel like I need to bottle it up, and there's things to get done and people to take care of, so it's not even worth diving into.
Well, I think you're putting a name to something of awareness of how I'm feeling is different than like action to quell that feeling. So I could be aware that I'm lonely. I could be aware that I'm experiencing this thing, but it doesn't solve the problem. Like if I'm naming the fact that I'm struggling, but the action to solve that isn't there, then it never gets better. And so maybe guys are able to identify that experience, but then the action of, hey, I need to go have deeper friendships to help me. Well, it's kind of awkward. I don't know how to initiate that. I don't know how to begin that. I got a bunch of guys in a group text from college, that send updates on Aggie football. I don't know how to take that and turn that into a meaningful experience now in my life. So initiating the action to solve the problem may be the gap in stopping the feeling. What are you thinking, Jose?
No, I agree with that. I'm also thinking back to your original question, and it's outside of just like naming it and doing something about it. It's also, well, I guess it kind of goes hand in hand with it. Of like, just because I know that other people are lonely doesn't mean that all of a sudden we're gonna get in a room together and stop being lonely. Like loneliness isn't just being surrounded by
12-step meeting.
Yeah, it's not just about being surrounded by other people. It's about knowing other people and being known by other people. which brings us back to your point of like, how do you take action?
Mm-hmm.
How do you take that conversation about the meme that someone just sent into?
I'm lonely.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling about these things happening in the world?
Yeah. Any other thoughts there? I want to get these guys some real solutions, but I want to wrap up the why well. Any other thoughts?
Why we're feeling lonely?
Yeah.
I mean, my last thought is just having shared experiences with people. Jose, you were talking about working remotely earlier. I work remotely as well for right now, and you just don't have that same office interaction that you'd have with people. Walking by someone's desk, saying hello to someone, having a spontaneous shared memory or laugh with somebody. There's less of there's been a lot of talk in cultural news and things like that over the last couple of years about the third space, and having a shared space where people go to interact with one another, whether that's like a gym or a social club or something like that. Those things have just kind of like fallen out of the norm for the most part. And so I think, for a lot of people, they just kind of get to lonely routines. Like they wake up, go to work at their remote job, and then make dinner, and hit the gym and post about it on YouTube, and their remote influencer life, and then that's it. There's no a shared pool of meaning with other people.
So when you say third space, for people who may not be familiar with that, what's the first two? Is that home, work?
Yeah, home and work.
Home and work.
And then the third space, a shared common space that you'd have with people.
Bar, gym.
I think
church, maybe?
For a lot of guys, church. For a lot of guys, when we were talking earlier about being on the playground and a kid saying, "Hey, you want to play?"
Yeah.
The only place that ever happens is at the rec center.
Absolutely.
Where, hey, you want to jump in? You want to play? Hey, we're running fives. When have you ever heard anyone say that in any other context in the 21st century? Never. You just don't hear it, And so there's a lack of shared meaning for people. Everyone, they're I don't know, living lives to make money and carry on with their existence, but they're not living for anything. They're not. There's not like a cultural pursuit of truth and meaning that applies to the greater society. It's build your find your own meaning, find your own truth, find your own purpose, and it sounds horrible. It sounds awful.
Have you guys read anything from Ryan Holiday? He's a
Stoic guy.
Stoic.
Yeah.
He's kind of a modern Stoic. So Stoic is like a kind of a mindset of philosophy, if you will. And he's taken some of that, trying to apply it to current men's lives right now. And him and this other author named Michael Easter are trying to invest and get investors for modern day gentlemen's clubs. And when we say gentlemen's clubs, not the inappropriate gentlemen's clubs, but gentlemen's clubs used to be in the early 1900s, which is where the inappropriate current gentlemen's clubs gets their name from. Places that guys would come together and have a pint and smoke a cigar and just talk about politics and life and family. So they're trying to get VC backing to start real life modern gentlemen's clubs. So spaces that are men only, but are kind of old school. Like imagine like a library setting or something like this. And there's bar, there's, drinks, there's, it's not for the drinking, but they're the space to come together. Because their idea is we need to if we create third spaces for men, they'll come. They'll go to the gym, but can we create spaces where there's no phones or technology, where guys are just coming together to spend time together outside of a work setting, church setting, something like that? It'd be really fun. The all-in gentleman's club. Modern gentleman's club.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is I'm looking at this USA jersey right here in our awesome studio, and I'm thinking of the scene from Miracle, the "Who do you play for" scene.
Yeah.
Going back to that like shared pool of meaning, Mike Ruzioni, who do you play for? I play for the United States of America. And there's a shift there. Like all of these guys are connected in a new way for the first time in that film, because now it's like, hey, we have this shared identity in our lives that we didn't have before. We were, playing hockey at rival colleges and universities, and we're trying to win a gold medal, but we're not unified in the same way. And that was the turning point in the film where these guys, it's like, yeah, they have something that they're pursuing alongside with one another. And so to be able to create, a space like you're talking about for men to come together and not just, it's good to shoot the breeze. It's good to hang out. It's good to, have small talk, but also to come together with guys in a space like that, knowing, hey, we're running after the same thing here,
So we're jumping to some great solutions, and I want to stay there. So we want to identify, just for guys listening, like, what are some tangible 5 ways that they can be able to solve some of these crises in their life? And we talked about initiation earlier, and I'm wondering if that is our first kind of way to solve, which is to be able to initiate with other men. Be the first to reach out, invite yourself to something, organize a third space, poker,
build a gentleman's club,
modern gentleman's club,
modern one.
Call
What
people.
would it be, the original, not
The
modern?
OG, yeah. The OG turned into modern.
So lost. Basketball.
Yeah. Call people.
Start hooping.
Call people that you want to connect with. Set up times to connect with them. Something that y'all are really good at that I'm not nearly as good at is the phone call. Clayton, you travel
When
a lot.
you say not nearly as good at, can you go, what do you mean by that? You mean like you don't do it at all?
I am not as good at answering random phone calls.
By not as good, he means he never picks up when I
means
call
he
him.
doesn't.
But like,
And then he hangs up on you 2 minutes in.
hey, you gotta go. Bye. But I'm wondering, like, when you're driving,
Yeah.
when you were driving in your previous job around Texas, you were on the phone the whole time
Mhm.
because you're like, I'm kind of lonely. I'm driving 3 hours. Like, that is a great way to initiate.
Absolutely, because I think you have to realize that other people are feeling the same way. And if you don't initiate, no one will. Like, you have to just be okay with, like, hey, I'm going to be the one to just call this person.
And it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
What-
They're not avoiding
They
me.
pick up the phone.
It's
They're
not
like, who
awkward.
died?
Yeah.
And you're like, nobody died. I
Nobody
just
died.
want to
What's up?
talk.
Yeah.
Say I love you.
I
love you.
Hello, I love you.
I love you so
What?
much.
Who is this?
Have you called Alex recently? Your
Alex?
fourth grade? No,
Oh, my
Alex. Your
Alex.
fourth grade friend?
No. We drifted apart after
GTESL.
I found out he had
After you learned English?
After I found out he had a peanut allergy, and I was bringing peanut butter sandwiches to school every day.
Have you called Alex recently?
Doing his puzzles for him. That's it.
It wasn't like he couldn't do them, and I was doing it for him. He would just bring it back and have it on his desk, and I'd play with it before he took it home to
crazy.
solve the puzzles. Yeah.
Shared meaning.
So your question is, what do we need
Yeah.
to
What
do?
do
Yeah,
we do?
so-
First thing,
so
initiation.
First thing, initiation.
You got to initiate.
You
And
got to
be okay with
initiate
that.
and be okay with the uncomfortability and awkwardness of being that initiator. Clayton, what if you had to go number 2, what would you lay out for us?
Yeah, I mean, I've just you can initiate different things.
Mhm.
So you can be an initiator of the 5-minute check-in phone call, which is great. I have that kind of a friendship with a few friends, just check in throughout the week, just quick couple minutes. But then there's also the initiator of some sort of a small group, whether
Mhm.
that's like whether that could be a Bible study or it could just be John Michael, you like working out with guys,
Mhm.
being an initiator and inviting guys to come in and work out with you in your garage. I think is really great. So
getting involved in something.
getting involved.
Do you guys think small groups should be mandatory for men? I know you're involved. Baton Rouge has a great one you're
Yeah.
involved with. I'm plugged into one here in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something guys should look for?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
how do you create a small group?
It's a great question. How do you create one?
And I'm not talking like there's a Bible study,
Right.
and then I'm using small group maybe with like capital letters, which I don't necessarily mean. I don't want to say like it needs to have a method or a context of conversation. What do y'all do in y'all's group?
The rhythm we've kind of fallen into is we will all read the Sunday gospel reading of the week, and then just kind of talk of, hey, is anything coming up? How does this relate to your life? And then it'll just turn into like conversation
Mhm,
that
mhm.
could be related or could be absolutely nothing.
And
have nothing to do
how
with
did it start? Because that's what I'm always interested with
Yeah.
these is like, who was the initiator?
So I actually don't know who initiated it because I jumped in when I moved to Baton Rouge. I had some friends that were already in it, like, hey, you should just join us.
Hmm.
But how I would start it, like, let's say if I moved there and I didn't know anyone, which my wife and I like to say that we try to do this, but honestly, we're pretty bad at it because there's no pressure to, since I already have the safety net of the small group already. But I would just start out with the parish I'm going to. Who looks young? You know?
Yeah.
Who looks like they're
yeah.
in my age group?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be too weird about, like, not that they wouldn't be too weird, but that it wouldn't be like the craziest thing to invite them to something.
Mhm.
And I would just, after mass, just stand by the door.
Yep.
Just introduce myself to people like, hey, I'm starting a small group. You want to come?
Mhm.
Oh, what's it about? Oh, we'll just kind of dive deeper into scripture. I guess it's
Yeah.
a church thing, so that's maybe where I'm starting. I know one of my other buddies in Baton Rouge does this with basketball.
Mhm.
He just goes to the gym, plays basketball, and then after basketball, he'll invite whoever was there. He's like, hey, you want to go grab a drink?
Yep.
And that's kind of turned into its own little group as well. So going back to the initiation of like just putting yourself out there and inviting to something.
Even I was thinking of a saying we had in college. The first rule of brotherhood is to show up.
Yeah.
And, we're talking about initiation in terms of inviting someone to do something that you're planning yourself. But I think also, there's plenty of events that happen at my parish on a regular basis that I don't go to, and it's like, oh, I wonder why I don't have, an extensive network of friends within the parish that I go to. Well, it's because I don't show up, And so, being willing, and it can be hard sometimes. I mean, we've all got small children. It's like, yeah, I don't necessarily want to go to those things all the time, or I'm lazy, or I'm tired, or whatever it is.
Just be
But
uncomfortable too.
yeah, and it's also like, yeah, I just don't. It requires a lot of energy to go and meet someone new and small talk, and but being willing to show up to those things that are already happening, and being consistent.
So it's like, yeah, being the first to reach out, initiate. Yep, right. Getting out of your comfort zone. I think you just hit on that. I think that's a great point. It's okay to do something that's weird. It's okay to go talk to someone after mass that you've never met. Getting involved in something, whether it's at the parish, whether it's in a basketball league, or there's this thing in Baton Rouge. I think I've texted you guys about. It's called Ancient Athletes.
Oh yeah,
You have to be 30
great.
years old to join,
That's amazing.
and it's just a ton of 30-plus-year-old guys that got together, and it's been built out now. I think there's like 600 members, and they have 5 sports that they rotate throughout the year to play, and they have drafts for each sport. It's really cool.
Is it formal, or is it still
it's
like
formal.
it really? Wow.
Define formal.
Like it's its own organization, or there's just
Yeah.
some guys running it because they love this thing.
It's that's become an organization.
made it formal.
It's an adult fraternity.
Yeah.
You have to
That's
know
just
someone to get
amazing.
in.
Yeah, you have to be invited in, and then you have to be you get interviewed. But it's also like there's 600 members, like
And it's
not-
just in Baton Rouge.
which is awesome.
That's amazing.
But okay, yeah. So getting involved in something.
Yep.
I think something we haven't touched on that is still important to say is take some time, intentional time, to just get off your phone,
Mhm.
get off your computer, like just get off of media and just connect with the person in front of you.
Mhm.
Again, it's the same thing, but it's just we want to be explicit about inviting our listeners to just take some intentional time and get off your phone,
Mhm.
get off the media.
Well, I think that's really key because guys in their 20s have tons of friends that they never see. So you have like all these friends that live in different cities, and you're keeping up over the phone, and maybe you have like, FaceTime happy hour or something like that. Those are great. And that's helpful to solve loneliness. But you also need like in-person relationships at the same time. So if all of your relationships are guys from your previous state of life that you're trying to keep up with, it's not going to take you nearly as far as having those people who know you from start to finish, but also the guys who are in your life right now in person, like you have in Baton Rouge. So keeping those relationships digitally while also having those relationships in person.
So right now we've given them 4.
Yep.
John Michael, what would you say the 5th?
I think the crowning jewel of this is like don't compare your community to other guys' community. So if you're feeling like, every guy I talk to has their golf trip that they're going on, and I've never been invited to one. I want to make it clear I don't want to be invited on one.
I think you were invited to ours.
To the budget cup?
Yeah, you were invited.
Yeah, I was. I was going to be the golf cart driver.
Yeah.
But it's easy to compare your relationships to what other guys have. And comparison leads to loneliness because you inherently think when you're comparing, I don't have what they have. And when you get in that mindset, it's a negative place to live in your head. And so to look at your life and just say, I understand, Jose's got a great group in Baton Rouge. Like I love the group you got. Like your crew in Baton Rouge is a bunch of super fun, awesome dads, guys. And just to recognize, like, I'm not there yet, but I want to create what he has in my life. And maybe you could talk to them to say, hey, Jose, how did you get that? Could I learn from you so that I could create that in my own way? That comparison's leading to fruit in my life and not taking away from fruit in my life.
And I would say just comparison in general, not just to the community, like comparison to stage of life, like we were talking about in the beginning. I found that, I lived in Denver for a short amount of time, and it was, I felt very lonely because like you guys both left here at the same time. Two of my best friends were living in the same city, but I kept telling myself like, well, they have too much going on. They have their families, they have their kids, and they're, I can't hang out with them. I can't do these things. And I was comparing myself to kind of where you guys were in life and saying no for you guys. When every time I texted each of y'all, we hung out. You guys were so excited to hang out. Yeah. But, it's the loop, right? Now we're back to initiating.
Yep.
But it's like, don't compare yourself, not just in communities, but also in stages of life.
I think that's a super great point because it doesn't just apply to the single guy that has married friends. It also applies to the married guy that is a couple stages back from the other married couples.
Yeah.
So like in my life, we have 4 kids, but a lot of the men in my life have 6 or 7 kids. And so their kids are in high school. And I feel like that. I'm like, I don't want to bother them. I really want to go hang out with their family, but they have baseball. They got kids older than us. All my kids are wearing diapers and screaming and just eating chicken nuggets all the time. Their kids are eating real foods. And so that could play in as well. It's not just single to married loneliness, then it's different stages of married life loneliness. So initiation,
I think it goes down too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, just because I have a kid, and I'm married and I have all these things going on, let me just invite my friend that's single over for dinner.
They got nothing going on.
Because it's like, well, they don't want to do that, They don't want to be like,
they don't want to see this mess.
They don't want to see this mess. It's messy. Like, what if he's fussy? Like, all these things. Not the friend, but like my son. But it's like, just invite them.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out.
Right.
So I think, it goes up and down both ways.
Maybe the problem is not that you're lonely, but maybe the problem is that you feel like you're the only one feeling this way. And we hope that through this episode, you've recognized that that's not the case, that there's probably a lot of guys in your life that are feeling that way. And I think the last point is that it doesn't go away at once. Loneliness isn't something that you're feeling it one day and you're not feeling it the next day. It's a gradual growth. And so as you're moving towards that community, that has stages in your life. It doesn't disappear all at once. It breaks through small steps, initiation, showing up, reaching out, and choosing connection over and over again. If this episode and these 5 ways to break through loneliness are something that hits home for you in a time of transition, in a time of loneliness, maybe you're the one who needs to be reaching out, and you can reach out to the All In Podcast. Keep tuned in to the various ways that we are identifying the problems and solutions that every man in their 20s and 30s are feeling. We're going to have so much more in the coming episodes. We are all in. We'll see you next time.